Recently, anti-Islam rhetoric has taken over social media again. From social media memes to news headlines, many people have been confusing the refugee situation with Muslims who have been in the West for decades. They claim Islam is taking over. You hear it all the time. They claim Sharia law is an agenda. They claim that the average Muslim is against democracy, or even hijabs being a threat to Western identity. There is a myth that every Muslim has the exact same personality, but this is never applied to other groups, like West Africans who are Christian, or Sikhs from India. But is it true? Let's take a look at the facts you don't usually hear about. Firstly, in the UK, a significant number of doctors in the NHS are Muslim. That's an easily verifiable statistic, both factually and anecdotally. Try go into any hospital and speak to people to see. That's your ambulance driver, your surgeon, even your kid's pediatrician. And the next generation of Muslims? Well, according to the HESA, Pakistani and Arab students are almost twice as likely to choose STEM than white British students. That's engineering, medicine, tech, and mathematics. They are choosing to benefit society at higher levels than the average English student. And what about the Sharia law agenda? Let's talk about it. Let's talk Sadiq Khan, London's Muslim mayor. Did he ban alcohol? No. Enforce Sharia dress codes? No, not at all. He backed pride, progressive policy, and yes, he still rides the tube. In the US, similar patterns. Meet Andre Carson, Democrat from Indiana, sitting in Congress. He's Muslim, and he's not pushing Sharia. He's pushing education reform, infrastructure, and national security. In California, Farah Khan served as mayor of Irvine. She's Muslim. No Islamic takeover, despite being in a position of power. She focuses on what really matters: sustainability, housing, public safety, not Sharia. Humans are more similar than you think. This can be seen in places like Mauritius, where Muslims live peacefully with Christians and do not call for Sharia law. 99% of people just want to live peacefully. Now ask yourself this: if a hijab or a foreign name still makes us question someone's loyalty, maybe it's what you have been taught to see, as it is illogical. Don't believe it? Then why was over $100 million sent to anti-Muslim groups between 2017 and 2019, according to an investigative report by the Council on American Islamic Relations? Pause for a moment. How many times have you heard, "They hate our freedoms"? How many times have you heard, "They're not like us"? These ideas spread fast, especially when all you ever see are headlines about violence. But here's the question almost no one is asking. What about the 99% of Muslims who live in peace? Let's put this into perspective. There are over 50 million Muslims in Europe today. Yes, in Europe. And no, that's not all from recent migration. They've been here longer than most people realize. Kosovo has 1.8 million Muslims. Bosnia, nearly 1.8 million more. North Macedonia, over 500,000. They're European, they're Muslim, and they're not newcomers. Now swing east. Northern Turkey, also known as Eastern Thrace, which is in Europe, and it's home to 10.6 million Turkish Muslims. That's more than the entire population of Denmark, Latvia, or Croatia. These people are not foreign. Islam has been in the West for longer than you think. Oh, and don't forget the Tatar Muslims of Poland. They've lived there peacefully for over 600 years, or about the hundreds of thousands of white converts across Western Europe. The list goes on, and many converts build mosques, not just migrants. So, are we really going to pretend all these people, millions from different cultures and different generations, are part of a secret plan to take over? It's not rational. It's statistically ridiculous. Islam unites people of all ethnicities. And if you're wondering whether they even like the so-called West, most of them do. According to multiple studies, including the Gallup Coexist Index, British Muslims feel more loyalty to the UK than non-Muslims do. Here's the part most fear-based narratives completely ignore. Second-generation Muslims in the West aren't becoming more radical. It is the opposite. Have a look at this statistic on the screen. They seem to be becoming more Western, whether it be in fashion trends or in philosophy. Studies consistently show that children of Muslim immigrants are less religious than their parents. And there is even a difference between ethnicities. For example, this study showed Turks integrate faster than some North Africans due to exposure to work and being there longer. The new generation are not dreaming of the caliphate. They're more likely to be following Cardi B, binging Netflix, stressing over exams, and figuring out if they can afford rent in London. This isn't just anecdotal, it's a trend. Religious observance drops with each generation born in the West, and that tells us something important. When people grow up in a society, they adapt to it. They blend in, they shape it, and they're also shaped by it. One of the biggest causes of culture change is celebrities and social media, not migration. And if you still think Islam can't coexist with non-Muslim majorities, let's leave Europe for a second. In Singapore, the Muslim community are around 15% of the population. In Hong Kong, around 300,000 Muslims living peacefully in one of the world's densest cities. Bangkok, Thailand, has 300,000 Muslims out of over 4 million across the country. Many who hold power and are athletes. No conflict, no culture war, no takeover or Sharia agenda. Just peaceful coexistence and friendships. Because here's the truth. When you give people opportunity and community, hostility dries up. Humans biologically tend to want to be accepted and not feel like odd ones out unless they have no choice if society tries to paint them that way. Here's a big topic when it comes to Islam in the West. Let's talk about crime. Because here's the harsh truth. Muslims tend to get blamed before the facts are even in. Every car attack, every stabbing, every moment of chaos. The headlines jump the gun. The hashtags start trending. The word terror, gets thrown around. And guess who it's always linked to first? Bondi Junction, 2024. Panic, bloodshed. The media screams, Islamic terror. But the attacker? Not Muslim. London, the Leicester Square incident. An 11-year-old girl is stabbed in broad daylight. Social media explodes. Another Muslim. Except the attacker was Romanian, a Christian-majority nationality. And the hero? The man who tackled the attacker and saved the girl. A Muslim security guard. His name was Abdullah. And when the facts come out, they're barely whispered. No bold headlines, no public apology. The news barely showed when Muslims opened up mosques to help victims of natural disasters in Texas or Louisiana. Even after Hurricane Ida, Muslim organizations like the Zakat Foundation had volunteers to distribute emergency supplies, rescue stranded residents, and provide shelters. Now let's talk about those viral videos. This is probably what has brainwashed people the most. You've seen the videos. A brown man waving a knife. The caption says, Muslim terrorist, and people share it instantly. Except, time and time again, the truth is something else entirely. Some of these videos, Indian Hindus or Sikhs, from Kashmir or Canada. Others, Romanians. Last time I checked, Romania is a Christian-majority country. Some videos even showed Mexican cartels halfway across the world. But the caption said, Muslims. The propaganda goes so deep, even our eyes get tricked. We see a brown face and suddenly we think we know what they believe. But faith isn't a skin tone. Always do your own research. Let's rewind some more. Mannheim, Germany. A man drove into a carnival crowd. Initial blame, Muslims. Reality, a native German, no ties to Islam. Amsterdam, 2018, panic over a supposed Islamist stabbing. Turns out it was a Ukrainian attacker from an Orthodox Christian background. UK beheading, 2018. The son ran with Islamic terror. The attacker, not even Muslim. Do you see the pattern? Blame now, verify later. Why? Because outrage sells. Fear pays. And some media outlets know exactly what their audience wants to hear. Basically, follow the money. When a non-Muslim commits a crime, we look for personal issues. When it's a Muslim, we assume ideology. And here's something important to understand. Something for you to think about. Just because someone is Muslim doesn't mean everything they do is because of Islam. A lot of the people accused of so-called Islamic crimes, they were drinking alcohol, partying, breaking laws, things Islam clearly forbids. Even in Muslim-majority countries like Kuwait, there are issues like obesity, even though the religion speaks against overindulgence. The truth is, people don't always follow their religion perfectly. Most of us live by culture, habits, personal choices, not by a rule book, word for word. So, when a Muslim does something wrong, it's not fair or accurate to say Islam told them to. Now let's talk about one of the most overused arguments in the whole debate. Yeah, but look how many Muslims are in prison. All right, let's actually break that down. Let's start with a proper apples-to-apples comparison. A few years ago, Polish nationals made up about 1.3% of England and Wales. Lithuanians, just 0.3%. But in the prison system, Poles accounted for 8% of all foreign national offenders. Lithuanians accounted for 4%. According to 2024 statistics shown on screen, Lithuanians, 4%. Now compare that to Pakistanis, who make up a much larger part of the population, yet they made up just 3% of foreign national offenders on the same chart. So what's the narrative here? Is it really about religion? Or are we just selectively focusing on Muslims while ignoring everyone else? And here's the kicker. Most prison stats don't even track who goes in as Muslim, just who identifies as Muslim while they're inside. And guess what? Many prisoners convert to Islam in prison. Some do it for protection, some do it for structure, some for the sense of brotherhood. Many might even tick the box because they like the perks, like better meals during Ramadan or more time outside the cell for prayers. But that's not a Muslim crime wave. That's people looking for stability in a place built on chaos. In fact, studies show that Muslim converts in prison often turn to faith as a way to cope emotionally, change their behavior, and aim for real rehabilitation. So no, Islam isn't filling up prisons. Broken systems are. And religion, in many of those cells, is actually one of the few things helping people get back on track. Here's something else that's wild. White evangelical Christians in the US are less accepting of gay people than Muslim Americans. That's not my opinion, that's Pew Research. And in a massive US study, Muslims were found to have lower violent thoughts than the general population. So again, who exactly are we afraid of? Religion is rarely the full story. Environment shapes people more than belief ever could. We can all agree to this example. A poor Christian farmer in rural Africa has more in common with a poor Muslim laborer in the Middle East than either of them does with the rich elites who claim to speak for them. And at the same time, a rich Arab sheikh can party on a yacht in Monaco right next to a Christian businessman, sipping champagne, laughing under the same sun. So maybe it's not really about faith at all. Maybe it's about class, opportunity, and the stories we choose to believe.